Hello, good evening. It's day number 20 in the month of October 2024. You're welcome here to Iron Port on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, GWEL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority-GPHA, and our media partner is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. If you want to have a grasp of all that transpired in the show, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show. Indeed, tonight we are streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are streaming live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are live at Port of Tema, and on YouTube, we are streaming live at Iron Port. Now, we shall be getting interactive with you as usual, and so all you have to do is sit back, relax, grab your phones, and send us your messages and comments via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0538 037353. 0538-037353. Now, when the time is ripe and I pick signals from the production team, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue with the show. Please stay with us.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP, Wufilia, huh? Wubefi. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
All right, welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at the happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. And indeed, in the course of the week, the Borderless Alliance held its 11th annual conference. We'll tell you what the details are. Plus the fact that the Women's International Shipping and Trading Association, WISTA International, also held its 2024 annual general meeting and conference in faraway Cyprus. We have the details coming up shortly. Plus, it's been a very busy week for the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority in terms of its corporate social responsibility. We'll tell you the details. Enjoy.
The Borderless Alliance hosted its 2024 Regional Stakeholders Seminar and General Assembly, bringing together government agencies, business leaders, and strategic institutions from across West Africa to discuss key trade facilitation initiatives. The event served as a platform for reviewing the state of regional integration and the measures being implemented to ease trade across borders in the sub-region. Addressing the gathering on behalf of the Chief Executive of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Kwesi Bafo Sapon, the head of Freight and Logistics, Fred Asidu Date, highlighted the successful partnership between the authority and Borderless Alliance. He noted that the collaboration has led to the development of innovative solutions aimed at eliminating bottlenecks at ports and borders, ultimately fostering greater predictability in business operations within Ghana.
The Borderless Alliance, with the support of the Ghana Shippers Authority, has been working to support the private sector and its partners in achieving tangible improvements in the free movement of goods in West Africa. We have developed and implemented innovative solutions aiming to eliminate bottlenecks, specifically non-tariff barriers, at our ports and borders, and to bring predictability to doing business in Ghana.
President of Borderless Alliance, Jonas Lago, reaffirmed the organization's role as a key advocate for public-private dialogue on trade matters. Over the past decade, he said, the Alliance has engaged with national and regional policymakers to promote smoother trade across the West African region.
The Alliance is pursuing its efforts to improve road governance and eliminate tariff and non-tariff barriers in order to enable the effective free movement of people and goods in West Africa.
Chairman of the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme Task Force, Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambers, who delivered a keynote address, stressed the importance of fostering stronger economic ties within West Africa as a means to solidify the region's economic standing. Dr. Chambers expressed concern over the persistent poverty in the region and advocated for free movement of people to unlock jobs and opportunities.
The level of poverty in our continent is unacceptable. 2024, there are still huge pockets of poverty and underdevelopment. And the way to break this is if we, among ourselves, we start doing business and allowing our young people, very dynamic, very innovative, to move freely across our continent, to seek opportunities, to harness our tremendous natural resources.
The conference also featured plenary discussions on the Interconnected Transit Cargo Management System, SIGMAT, and the Pan-African Payment Settlement System, PAPS, evaluating their role and effectiveness in streamlining trade facilitation across the region.
As part of its corporate social responsibility, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has donated 2 10,000-litre polytanks to the Padmore electoral area in Tema, Community 1. The donation follows a request put in by the Assemblyman for the area, Charles Amos, for the authority to come to the aid of the area as a result of intermittent water challenges they grapple with. At a brief handing over ceremony, an elected Charles Amos thanked the board and management of GPHA for obliging their request by donating the polytanks. According to him, the situation got dire and threw the area into depression after they made appeals to several companies without success, adding that the gesture by GPHA was a huge relief. Mr. Amos also appealed for more polytanks to cover the entire electoral area.
Ghana Port and Harbour, we thank you management, we thank you. What Ghana Port and Harbour has done to Padma Electoral Area, we wish it will extend to all the companies around, that their corporate responsibility is to serve the people.
Some members of the community also expressed their gratitude to GPHA for the magnanimous gesture.
Unfortunately for us, we have been facing water problem, but we are thanking Ghana Port and Harbours Authority for this wonderful gesture. We say God bless them, and we pray that more should come from them to help the other environments.
God being so good, when he ran to Gapoa, they were able to solve this wonderful problem. So all that we are saying, that God bless them.
This demonstrates their commitment in helping the community as a whole. So we've been having this problem for quite a long time, but I think this polytank is going to help us in the near future.
A principal marketing and corporate affairs officer at the authority, Kennedy Mona, who presented the items to the assemblyman on behalf of the authority, averred that the donation of the polytanks fell in line with one of the authority's core corporate social responsibility areas of health. According to him, the authority was happy to lend a hand to ensure that the community enjoyed potable drinking water, which is a prerequisite for a healthy life.
We are here to present the 2 polytanks, 10,000 litre each, to the assemblyman, the Honorable Charles Amos, who sent in the request and got GPHA to oblige and then do this presentation and donation to them so that we can alleviate and ameliorate the water situation in this area. This also came in handy because it is part of GPHA's pillars of corporate social responsibility, which encapsulates health.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority continues to demonstrate a commitment to the organization's corporate social responsibility pillars of education, health and environment. The Community 5 No. 1 Basic School in Tema is the most recent to benefit from this commitment, as the authority retooled the ICT infrastructure in the school last Thursday to optimize the learning experience in ICT. GPHA donated 22 Lenovo ThinkCenter all-in-one desktop computers, 2 HP Color LaserJet printers, 2 Panasonic CD sound system, and an Epson media projector. In addition, the authority has provided 40 chairs, 8 3-in-1 workstations, 2 4-drawer steel cabinets, 2 3-in-1 sofas, 2 whiteboards, among other complementary furniture, all towards providing a conducive learning environment for teaching and learning. Presenting the items on behalf of the authority, a marketing and corporate affairs officer at GPHA, Aisha Ibrahim, said, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority believes in enhancing education of those who will eventually grow to make up the nation's workforce.
Benefit that we're looking for. We know that this will enhance teaching and learning, and it will also provide opportunities for the students to excel. So we are happy to always partner with local institutions like these ones. And of course, it is not just a one-off gesture. It is our continuous commitment to ensuring that we give back to the community.
On her part, the headmistress in charge of the Community 5 No. 1 JHS, Mama Tevi the Fifth, said, GPHA has proven a reliable partner to the school over the years, and the school's leadership will ensure the donated items are put to good use to enhance the know-how of students in ICT.
As we all know, this new curriculum, we have computing as part of the subjects that are being learned in JHS and even in primary school. So since we are fortunate to have these machines or the equipment, it will enable our students to also know what is supposed to be done. They wouldn't learn in an abstract way. They will also be able to do well in the BECE examination.
We are grateful to receive all these things. It will help us in the computing sector. It will also help we the students who do not know how to type, who do not know anything about computers.
In 2003, GPHA rebuilt the JHS classroom block of the school as a contribution to education in the community. WISTA International has held its annual general meeting and conference in Limassol, Cyprus. The event, which brought together the leadership of all national WISTA associations, featured the President's roundtable discussions and a dinner hosted by the Shipping Deputy Ministry of Cyprus, led by Minister Marina Hadjimanolis, and First Lady of Cyprus, Philippa Kasera Christodoulidis, graced the dinner with her presence. WISTA Ghana was among the African national WISTA associations in attendance, joined by representatives from WISTA Nigeria, WISTA South Africa, and WISTA Cameroon. The conference saw participation from WISTA members across all continents, underscoring the global reach of the organization. In a show of support for diversity and inclusion, the President of the Republic of Cyprus, His Excellency Nikos Christodoulidis, also attended the event. Other high-profile attendees included the Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization, Arsenio Dominguez, along with various dignitaries. The conference featured a series of insightful panel discussions and concluded with a memorable celebration marking WISTA's 50th anniversary, honoring the pioneering women who founded the association and those who continue to advance its mission. The flag of Ghana was raised high as Jamilat Jawula Mahama was voted to serve a second term as WISTA International Secretary, the first from Africa to serve as Secretary on the Executive Board.
All right, so those were happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. We are now going for the word or phrase of the day. And remember, the word or phrase of the day has been fashioned to bring you up to speed with the terminologies and jargons we use in the shipping industry. Today's word is just in time. Just in time.
Just in time. In this method of inventory control, warehousing is minimal or non-existent. The container is the movable warehouse and must arrive just in time. That is, not too early and not too late.
All right, so welcome back. We are zooming into our discussion proper tonight. And tonight we have two segments. The first one, we're going to deal with eye care, preserving our vision and also promoting eye health in the workplace. And this topic comes on the back of the recently celebrated World Sight Day, which was on the 10th of this month. And so we would like to introduce to you our guest for tonight. That's the first guest for tonight's discussion, the first segment, in the person of Madame Regina Efua Tedeku. She's a fellow of the West African College of Nursing. She's also an ophthalmic nurse at the GPHA clinic in Tema. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome. Great. So there's a small preamble I would like to share with you, maybe some details or some preamble to set the discussion in context this night, so that we appreciate how serious this particular issue is. And this was put together by my colleague Aisha Ibrahim. Globally, at least 2.2 billion people suffer from near or distance vision impairment, with 1 billion of these cases being preventable or yet to be addressed. Now, the leading causes of vision impairment and blindness are refractive errors, cataract, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and age-related macular degeneration. 43 million people across the world are blind. 295 million people have moderate or severe visual impairment, and 258 million people have mild visual impairment, with 510 million people who also have near vision problems. Now, vision loss affects people of all ages, but most individuals with vision impairment and blindness are over 50 years old. Children with vision impairment can experience delayed development, while adults face lower employment rates and higher rates of depression as well as anxiety. Now, vision impairment poses a significant global financial burden, with an estimated annual productivity loss of $411 billion. However, addressing unmet eye care needs would cost significantly less. Now, the prevalence of vision impairment is four times higher in low and middle income regions compared to high income regions. And in sub-Saharan Africa, unaddressed near vision impairment rates exceeds 80%, whereas in North America, Australia, Western Europe, and Asia Pacific, rates are below 10%. This phenomenon calls for immediate action, and all stakeholders must collectively play a role. Now, the World Sight Day is a global healthcare event celebrated on the second Thursday of every October to emphasize public awareness with respect to shedding light on the prioritizing of vision and eye health. The theme for this year's celebration, Children, Love Your Eyes, highlights the importance of protecting our eyes and vision, raising awareness of vision impairment and blindness, and promoting eye and vision care. So our focus tonight will be on how to promote eye health in the workplace. And so let me go straight to Madam Tedeku. And if you can bring us up to speed, you heard the statistics. It's quite frightening. And one particular phenomenon that has that has affected our social fabric has to do with the screen time, with our phones and all that. If you go into the statistics, it's quite frightening. And sometimes, these days, we have devices that are able to tell you how much time you have spent, looking at your phone in a week. And so if you are somebody that, as it were, is very, very, mindful of your sight and want to look at some of these things, I think that it helps a lot for us to, so to speak, minimize, these trends. Can you tell us the major cause of eye problems in our country?
The issue of vision impairment is a great burden on eye caregivers globally and locally in Ghana. Yes. So what we can do at the workplaces to improve on our vision health is, as you are saying now, we are living in a technological world, and most organizations and companies are going paperless.
Yes.
It means that we'll spend more time on the screen. However, it comes with its challenges. Even though those challenges are there, it doesn't mean that we should abandon it. So, for instance, it is believed that the smart tablet or the electrical devices that we use emits this blue light, that when we are exposed to it for a long time, it can damage the retina, the photosensitive part of the eye. And so we advise that at the workplace, when you work on the screen for about 20-30 minutes, you take your eyes off and look at a distance. What is happening is that when you keep looking at that close range on your device, your eye is just accommodating at a short distance. And so if you don't take care, you develop myopia or short distance vision impairment.
Okay, that's myopia.
Myopia.
Yes.
And so at the workplace, we advise that when you look on the screen for a while, you take off your eyes, look at a distance, and then blink and then come back. So by so doing, you are stimulating your accommodative processes of the eye to be able to still adjust for a far distant object as well as a near distant object. And one other thing that comes with the use of the screen is this digital eye strain. Yes, because the eye is naturally made to blink without you thinking, effortlessly. Right. But when you focus on the screen, because sometimes you don't want to miss a line, you want to get everything on point, you tend to open your eyes for a long time. But the eye is structured in such a way that the surface needs to be constantly moistened.
Right.
And so as you don't blink, the surface becomes dry. And if it becomes dry, you feel soreness in the eye over a period of time. And naturally, when the surface of the eye becomes dry, it stimulates water to come to lubricate it. So you see that people who have dry eyes sometimes complain about teary eyes. It is as a consequence of the dryness of the surface of the eye. Right. So we advise that at the workplace, you think blink. It means you are telling you to make a conscious effort to blink, to lubricate the eye, to keep the surface of the eye moistened.
Right.
Because the surface of the eye is your first point of entry of light into your body. So if that place is dry, it is not as sharp, it makes your vision become blurred.
Right, right. So can you give us some perhaps statistics about how dire the situation is in our country?
As for the statistics, I think that you've delved into it. In Ghana,
yes,
the statistics that I have, it's about 10% of our population, 3.3 million people, having vision loss. And about 300 of them are blind, 300,000. And about 332,000 people have vision impairments. And vision impairments can come up from different various angles. So it's not only about the screen. Yes, in Ghana, statistics has it that cataract is the highest cause of vision impairments in Ghana, and then followed by glaucoma, and then posterior segment diseases, which is usually associated with diabetic retinopathy, before other cornea-related issues. So all this put together are giving us that cumulative figure of the 10% of Ghanaians who have vision impairment. And when you look at the statistics, it's a great burden on us. That is why World Sight Day is set aside to create awareness, sensitize people about that need for vision impairment, blindness that is happening, and the need for eye screening, prompt eye screening, and prompt reporting of eye cases to the nearest eye clinic for prompt treatment.
We'll talk about glaucoma, you just mentioned it, talk about cataract, you just mentioned it, and diabetes, I mean, which are factors that trigger, impairments of the eyes and all that. In our part of the world, which ones are the critical ones that are able, or that triggers, this condition?
In our part of the world, as I said, cataract is the first. And when I talk about cataract, it's like the white pupil, literally, or in a layman's view. When I look into your eyes, when you look into your neighbor's eye, you are supposed to see the window of the eye as black, the pupil that carries light into the eye. But for people who have cataract, you see whitish, grayish at that part instead of seeing it as black. And this is a process that happens and grows slowly. And so as the cataract matures or progresses, the vision reduces. But, in our parts of the world, because of superstition and maybe, for want of word, looking for alternate treatment measures for the eye, people report to the eye clinic really late. And it is a cause of concern. Because somebody thinks that the opacity that he's seeing as cataract, something else could be done about it. But unfortunately, there's no medication that you take that will take the cataract away.
Right.
You need to come to the eye clinic, who assess you and tell you the treatment options. Yes, we counsel you and take you through. And most of the time, when we deal with the cataract, take it out, vision is usually restored if there is no retinopathy at the background.
How are the activities of local medicine people, herbalists and all that, affecting your work in terms of your quest to treat people with such diseases? You just mentioned the fact that some people resort to some of these, alternative treatments, and when it degenerates or it gets worse, that's when they look for you, the professionals at the health facilities, to help them. You find people on social media, in the media space, everywhere, advertising that go take this particular herb or leaf, grind it, like that kind of thing, promoting some of these things. How inimical are these practices to, the eye health of our people?
Thank you very much. That practice is very detrimental. We see it a lot at the eye clinic, and people come in a very bad state. Somebody has just maybe red eyes, which might be a simple infection that can be treated, and they go to these people. I don't want to talk much about them, but you see, I don't know which people they go to. They collect things, they grind, they put into the eye, and the eye melts off completely. So they come in a very bad state.
So it exacerbates the situation and gets them completely gone.
It gives them a different problem altogether. Whereas what they had could have easily been managed. It gives us a different problem.
Right.
Sometimes the eye gets stuck together. You have to go through a process, doing rodding and all those things to separate them. And sometimes when there is a melting of the surface of the cornea and there's a cornea ulcer, the probability that that ulcer will heal with scar is high. And so that's why we advise against putting those concoctions that we don't know the percentage of its toxicity on the surface of the eye. The eye is very fragile.
Right.
It is very fragile. Even the cornea, as you see it, it is very fragile such that when some form of infections get in contact with the eye, the virulence of the organisms, how they can penetrate the cornea, after treatment will leave the cornea very hazy. But as I said earlier, the cornea or the black part of the eye is the first point of entry of light into your eyes.
Yeah.
So if you do anything that undermines its integrity for clarity, it will end up affecting your vision. If we don't take care, it will end in visual impairments.
Right. Okay, so ideally, how often should one go for eye exams, and what does a typical detailed eye examination entail? If I want to go for an examination of my eyes, ideally in 1 year as a person, how many times am I supposed to do so? And what should I be looking out for to ensure that the examination I'm going for is actually very detailed?
Thank you. So for how often you go to the eye clinic, in the field of medicine, we treat individuals as unique. And so even though averagely we can say that you can tag your eye examination routinely to your yearly medical. However, if you have a peculiar case and you see your specialist, eye nurse or ophthalmologist, the eye doctors, and they collaborate with you on the treatment regimen, it will depend on your next review.
Right.
So we advise that when you go for checkup, depending on your presenting complaint, and they give you time to come for review, you have to honor it and go for review because it's part of monitoring the progress of whatever you have. And so how often you go depends on the individual.
Right.
For some, we advise you come every 6 months. For some, we advise every 1 year. If you don't have any problem with the eye and it's a refractive error, it's also a problem, a challenge, we come and we correct it for you with the glasses. Then we will say that in the absence of any other complaint, in 2 years' time, you come for a review.
Right.
And so on the average, it depends on the individual. So
Right.
if you also ask about what to expect when you come for a typical eye examination, yes. So for a comprehensive eye examination, we are looking at the history of the patient, the presenting complaint, what brought you to the facility. And then after that, we'll check your visual acuity, the clarity of your vision.
Right.
We'll do eye examination with a slit lamp to see if there is any disease in the eye. We do that with a slit lamp or the fundoscopy to see any disease. If the person has a refractive error, we do refraction to correct it in order to give you the correct size of your lens for glasses.
Right.
Yes, we do that. Is involved in the comprehensive eye care. We also do visual field test. Visual field tests you do to examine the fovea centralis. These are technical terms. We want to examine the eye and then the peripheral vision loss. We want to assess and see if there's any peripheral vision loss.
Right.
We usually do it for people who have glaucoma and other brain tumors.
Right.
Yes, if it's having effect on their eye. Yes, in addition to that, for a comprehensive eye examination, we do dilatation of the pupil. So the pupil is dilated so that we can examine the retina well, your optic disc well, and then we assess and see the blood vessels to see whether everything is working well.
Right.
We also, as part of comprehensive eye examination, check for color vision test. We want to see whether you are able to differentiate colors well.
Okay.
We check for ocular movement to see your muscles are holding your eye well.
Right.
We also, as part of comprehensive eye examination, check for tonometry.
Yes.
Check the pressure inside your eye, because pressure inside the eye destroys the optic nerve. When it is not picked up early and the optic nerve is destroyed, it gives you blindness, visual impairment that cannot be reversed. So these are some of the major things we do when one comes for comprehensive eye examination.
Right. There seems to be this craze that when anybody is attending the eye clinic, they feel things that, yes, once I have an eye problem, at the end of the day, I must go home with the glass, spectacles. You know, can you tell us, what's this craze about people wanting, is it every eye condition that requires or deserves, as it were, spectacles?
Thank you very much. So it is not all eye conditions that require a spectacle. But as I gave you the first statistics, globally, the leading cause of visual impairment is refractive error. So it means that a great number of people have refractive error. And for refractive errors, we can only correct them with glasses.
Right.
That is why a number of people use glasses. It's not automatic that when you go to the eye clinic, you end up getting glasses. If you are assessed and it's a refractive error, the refractive error comes in different forms: short-sightedness, long-sightedness, astigmatism, and all that with corneal irregularities. So it is glasses, but some people's own are more complex than others. So that is what accounts for the increased number of people who wear glasses. And as I said earlier, the use of the computers now.
Yes.
So the blue filter glasses are available for people who work with computers for long hours, so that it can help protect their eyes. So somebody may not have a refractive error per se, but because that person works for long hours on the computer, he needs glasses with blue filter in order to protect the person's vision.
Right. Okay, so let me find out from you whether there are any supplements or foods that support, eye health.
Oh, yes, there are supplements that support eye health. But as we always say, with every medication, it has to be prescribed. So we don't encourage you going to buy supplements that we do not recommend.
Yes.
We advise that when you report to the eye clinic, your eye specialist sees you, and when you need supplements, they will recommend it for you.
Right.
Aside that, just eating a good balanced diet is good for the eye. Good balanced diet, especially more in vegetables, green leafy vegetables. You eat fish that contain omega-3 fatty acids. You eat food that has high in a vitamin A that helps to protect the eye, the retina, and moistens the surface of the eye.
Right.
That is enough. Once you eat well, the general body is healthy, including the eye.
Okay, so I've been told by the production team that we can take one call or two. I'm sure it's related to the first segment of the discussion. And so the number to dial is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353. I can see that some of you are still calling the WhatsApp line, and that's not the line for the call-in. So the line for the call-in is right on your screen. If you want to ask a question about this particular first segment of the topic, which has to do with our eyes, eye health, you can call right now and ask Madame Tedeku whatever question is bothering you, so that she can provide some response, because pretty shortly we're going to be done with her and zoom into our second discussion for the night. So let me find out from you what you would want viewers to take away in terms of lifestyle that will promote their eyesight even as they watch tonight.
Okay, thank you. But before I answer that question, this year the theme for our World Sight Day is Love Your Eyes.
Yes.
Let us prioritize child's eye health.
Yes.
Yes. Children are our next generation.
Absolutely.
And so we have to take good care of their eyes so that they will not grow up with vision impairment.
Yes.
And so we want to advise that if you have a child or a neighbor, a family member, you have a child and you see that there's this white thing in the center of the eye, as I described earlier,
yes,
please, let's bring the child to the hospital. If you see a child whose two eyes are not focusing on one object, so you see that the child is looking at this object and the other eye is drifting, deviated eye, can be deviating outwardly or inwardly. Yes, bring that child.
Okay, bring that child. So pause it there. Let's go to Nkoko and welcome Edmond onto the show. When we come back, we continue from where you left off, Madam Tedeku. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Edmond, good to hear from you. How is Nkoko?
Oh, Nkoko is doing well. Just that we are being troubled by the rain all the time. But yes, sir, we are managing. So.
Okay, please go ahead with your question.
I'm listening. I'm just watching the program. So I have a peculiar problem that actually fit into what the discussion is all about. Mine had to do with this eye issue that normally when I'm close, like when things are closer to me, like maybe the phone like this,
right?
If it is closer to me, and then I seem to watch maybe contact numbers or whatever, it kind of like appear as if it is blur. Unless I draw it quite far from myself before I'll be able to see the visibility of the number well. Yeah, so I've been attending to the I think here at Nkoko here all around.
Right.
Yeah, so there was a time I've been asked to go for a test from Kufrido. Yeah, which they said they cannot see to that over here. So I went there, and then they've asked me to come back in 6 months' time. So, but all along, as I've come back, it appears as though the vision based on it seems to be anything that is closer to me, like when I'm writing, even when I'm writing in a book, if I'm looking on the book writing like that,
right,
I can't see whatever I'm writing.
Okay, all right, point well made. Thank you very much, Edmond. Thank you so much. I think Madam would proffer a response, and then we wrap up here.
For that, what he's describing looks more of a refractive error of a presbyopia.
Okay.
So I don't know what his age is, but if he's above 35 years, it's probably that the lens, the natural eye's lens's ability to accommodate begins to slow down when you are growing.
Right.
And so you find it difficult to see near objects. That one can easily be corrected with glasses.
Okay.
And because when you want to see and you keep taking your hands back, how far can you take your hands back to be able to see?
Yeah.
And so I don't know, maybe he has another problem that they said they can't treat or something there. But for refractive error, glasses is a way forward so that he can see and close objects.
Yeah.
So he should go back when his review time is there. However, before the review, if he still feels uncomfortable, because you need your eyes to do your daily living activities,
absolutely,
to read, to move around, so he can go back as soon as possible and request for the eye to be rechecked. Refraction will be done for him,
right,
and corrective glasses will be given.
Yes. So you were on your point when Edmond called.
Yes. So for children, I was saying that because this year we are focusing on child health, I want to throw a little light on that.
Yes,
so
just briefly, because our time is up.
If you have your child seeing and he has to close one eye to see, probably the child is having double vision,
right,
which is confusing the child in the brain. And so you close eye to get one eye to be able to see well. The child is squinting, the images will be different. That one too is confusing. For all those conditions, if you bring the child early, we are able to help solve it to prevent vision impairment.
Right.
For instance, with the squinting one, if you don't bring the child to the eye clinic and the child passes 7-8 years, we may correct the alignment, but that vision spot is lost.
Okay.
We call it amblyopia or lazy eyes.
Right.
And so we advise that you bring the child for checkup. Children who are born preterm or prematurely is of so much importance to us because the retina was not well developed when the child was born. So we need all preterm children to report to the eye clinic to see the pediatric ophthalmologist to assess them to prevent retinopathy of prematurity, which is a serious condition that results in vision impairment in children.
Right.
So for this and many more, we advise that children should not be playing with pointed objects that will hurt their eyes. We encourage parents, teachers, that when you see that a child is sitting in class and he complains that he's not seeing from the board, please prompt the parents to bring the child to the eye clinic so that we correct it. We are aiming at reducing vision impairment in Ghana and globally.
Right. Thank you very much indeed. Preserving vision, promoting eye health in the workplace. That has been the topic for our first segment of Eye on Port here at Metro TV.
Can I say a last word?
Okay. Yes.
Yes. So my last word is saying that I want to say a big thank you to our employers, to GPHA management, for being part of organizations, communities, and individuals who are advocating for good eye health. So I want to thank our Director General, Mr. Michael Luguje, our Director of Port for Tema, our Mommy, Madam Sandro Poku, all the management team, GM Health Services, Dr. Anab,
Yes.
I want to thank you. I want to say thank you to all my colleagues at the clinic, GPHA
Yes.
clinic,
Right.
for their support in being part of this advocacy to preserve eye health at the workplace and for all. Thank
Indeed,
you
I
very
also
much.
say a big shout out to my own mama, Mama One, Madam Esther Jebidonko, who is the executive producer of Iron Port. We thank you so much to all of you, the management of Ghana Ports. And so we say a very big thanks to you, Madam Regina Efua Tedeku, fellow of the West Africa College of Nursing. She's also an ophthalmic nurse at the GPHA clinic in Tema. We're grateful to you for obliging us tonight. I'm sure when we have issues relating to the eyes and we call on you, you'd always oblige Iron Port. Thank you so much and have a blessed week ahead. Awesome. So viewers, we're going for a quick break. When we return, we'll come with a second segment of Iron Port for tonight. Please stay with us.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP will feel ya, huh? Will be feel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302-246-319 or 0243-690-492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
You're welcome back. We are now going into our second discussion, where we're taking a look at the sustainable and green practices in the maritime and logistics sector. With us in the studios to do justice to this particular topic tonight is Mr. Patrick Ando. He's a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport and also the Executive Secretary of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, CILT, Ghana. Also in the studios, Madame Mabel Kabute. She's also Chartered member of the Institute of Logistics and Transport, CMILT. She's also the CEO of Go Movers Logistics Limited and acting Wilat Ghana chairperson. Wilat, that's women in logistics and transport. Absolutely, awesome. All right, so lady and gentlemen, welcome to Iron Port.
Thank you very much.
All right. So let me begin with you, Mr. Ando, or I'll begin with Madam.
Yeah.
And find out from you, if you say sustainable and green practices, what does that mean in the context of our maritime and logistics sector?
Okay, so when we talk about sustainability and green practices, what it means is a transformative approach in which to minimize the environmental impact.
Right.
Minimize the environmental impact in the maritime and logistics sector. And it also paved way for the renewal future.
Right.
That is the individuals and the planet. We also say that this is divided into or can be segmented into 3 categories.
Right.
That is the reducing the environmental impact, optimizing resources use, and also promoting economic efficiency.
All right, so in our part of the world, in Ghana, for instance, our sector is quite diverse, it's quite huge, and we have a lot of players and actors in that. And how are you going to be able to coordinate and drum home the need for green and sustainable practices in our sector? Because not everybody in the industry knows or is aware of the need to perhaps structure their activities towards this particular goal that everybody is headed to at the moment.
So that is why Chartered Institute and Logistics and Transport, being a professional body, it's here to also organize professional programs such as continuous professional development programs that will enhance and educate individuals to also get to know more about it.
All right, so let me come to Mr. Ando and find out from you. The issue of sustainability has become one that, is critical, and everybody's talking about it the world over. And I just want to find out from you why, at this time, everybody thinks that we must do things sustainably.
All right, thank you very much, and good evening to all our viewers in their respective homes. We thank you. Anytime the word sustainability comes to mind, you can bear witness with me that all sectors, all industries are now calling for sustainability, because the truth of the matter is the next generation, the success of the next generation must be determined by the current generation.
Right.
So the future, our future in the next 10 years, our future in the next 5 years must be determined by now, in this way. So when you check all sectors and all industries, everybody is calling for sustainability. Everybody is calling for green practices, because the way the world is going, if we don't wake up, we may not have the future that we are really looking for. So that responsibility to ensure that the next generation is secured is the sustainability.
Right.
So the next 10 years is our next generation. The next 5 years is our next generation.
Right.
But the responsibility of sustaining that next generation is we. And that is the reason why there's a call almost in all sectors: mining, construction, supply chain, logistics, fishing, agriculture, cocoa sector. Everybody is calling for that call, because we must be able to take care of our needs today, and at the same time, not at the expense of the needs of the next generation which is unborn. And that is the reason why there's a call all over. Secondly, when you check where the world is going, there are 3 key things that is standing out. Environmentally, people are calling to make sure that this earth that we have, which you don't have any alternative for, must be preserved. and not just preserved by we alone, must be preserved for the next generation to also use.
Yes.
I normally say that there are few alternatives in this world. And one of them is we don't have any alternative for the earth.
Right.
So we who are in existence on the earth must make sure that the little things that we do may preserve what we have today, so that those who come in 10 years, 5 years, 15 years must also have advantage for it. Then again, states and organizations, there's a collective call by all countries to ensure that we all fight for climate change. We all fight for the environment.
Right.
So it's not only individuals, organizations who are calling for this, but regulations. And regulatory compliance is also calling for this to ensure that whatever we do, whatever we produce, whatever we eat, it becomes green in nature, so that we can be able to sustain what we have for future use.
All right, so let's take a look at how significant environmental impact of the market. Yes, okay, you want to?
Additionally, this has also become critical because it will also eliminate a lot of waste in the system. And when this waste are eliminated, what will be the end result? It is going to lead to cost reduction.
Right.
So we are going to save a lot of costs. When that is also done, we are also going to maximize profit. And especially this will be beneficial to the shipping lines a lot.
How expensive is it to migrate from the current way of doing things into doing it sustainably, and if there's a word like greenly? Because if I am a logistics service provider, I'm in the maritime industry, I do logistics and all that, and I'm being told that I should do it sustainably and go green and all that. There probably are some requirements that will aid me to do that. And sometimes you find people say it's quite expensive to do that. What are some of the things that one needs to do in order to migrate from the current way of doing things to going green and sustainable?
For all countries who are supposed to get green practices right or get sustainability right, must be piloted or pioneered by the states.
Right.
So state agencies will give the standard, give the benchmark to ensure that this is the direction that we go to. And the moment states give a regulation, that is the direction that we are going to. It means that we must all adhere that standards. And automatically it calls for a lot of changes. Basic example could be the fact that one of the basic things we could also just do in our offices to ensure that we go digital. I normally use a basic thing like A4 sheet for just an example. If you type one letter and you make a mistake and you retype it again, you make a mistake. Know that it's little in nature, but you are causing more harm to the society, to what you are producing, than for you to just be in digital, check whatever you are doing before the final print out comes in. That small thing, that culminates, become bigger in nature, it becomes effect on us. So automatically, if you're all migrating to green, there will be some element of cost element for it. But what I stand for, that cost element can never be compared to the cost that will incur in the future if we don't go green. For example, 9 years ago, all countries in Paris signed to Paris Agreement, ensuring that we all abide by the COP 126. This simply means that all countries must ensure that we all fight and collectively achieve the climate change that we are all fighting about. It must begin from small natures. So I start my small thing, maybe I'll also start a small thing, and gradually we all grow to that level, so that we can be able to achieve it. If we are not able to just take the bull by the horn today and begin with basic education, begin with basic training, begin with basic things like trying to just provide what I call organizational culture for the employees and staff to even understand what is all about green practices. It costs in the future cannot be very compared to what you may intend to incur today. So automatically there will be cost for it. For example, in our current warehousing systems, we must ensure that we build warehousing systems where it become eco-friendly, where we don't use a lot of energies that at the end of the day become cost in nature. So automatically, if you have a traditional system of warehousing and you want to now put up a new warehousing, there are standards that one's supposed to go about it. Those standards are now more environmental friendly. They are more eco-friendly, and it will demand that you go by that standard. And automatically there will be cost element to it. But the good news is that cost element can never be compared to the future gains that we can all gain collectively. And that's how it works.
Right.
So just to add up to it, I think in my office, My deputy, who happened to be the business development and IT manager,
right,
said to me that, okay, we can even file our things electronically. After clearance and everything, we keep some of the documents, papers, so that in future, if some of the clients come back that they've misplaced, so he said we could file them electronically.
Right.
So that after filing them, we'll shred the paper, so that one, it is also going to create space, and it will also become environmental friendly.
Right.
And we've started, and it is going on well. So these are some of the little things we can start from our own offices, just as my ES mentioned, before we look at the bigger aspect of it.
Right. Awesome. All right. So I just want to find out how significant it is the environmental impact of the maritime and logistics sector, and what are the key areas of sustainability that we can that can make a difference.
Okay, so when you pick the supply chain logistics sector, we have a lot of chains within them. When you take typically, for example, the pure logistics supply chain, you have all the way from the procurement to where maybe for the manufacturing, then we procure it automatically. There's the downstream, you must transport it.
Right.
When you transport, there's the element of making sure you store it. Then finally you have to distribute and finally get to the end user.
Right.
I want to begin by making sure that within all the chain, it must begin with education.
Okay.
Education is so powerful too, that brings a lot of transformation. And like what we are doing right now, many people have heard much about green practices, but they don't know what it's all about.
Yeah.
Many people have heard the buzzword sustainability, but they don't know what it's about. But what we are doing here just this evening, Ken, is the part of the education that brings the paradigm shifts.
Right.
Trying to let people know that there's a call, and not a call for the nation or an institute, but it's a collective call by all countries and all continents to ensure that where we are going, if we don't take intentional action, a collective action to ensure that we get the best out of it, we may not have any future.
Right.
And that's why we've started, begin from. So when you check any of the chain, there's a small portion that we could begin to just work around it.
Right.
I want to begin by looking at the personnel.
Okay.
The success of everything begins with the personnel or the human beings with it. And it might begin with education.
Right.
Providing them with the know-how, knowing what it takes.
Right.
Traditionally, we have people in our offices. So I call them, they need a little upskilling. And upskilling must be more geared toward green practices.
Right.
And as an institute, we are there to provide organizations with the support when it comes to the various chains or functions or activities that they have within their logistics. For them to make to know that when it comes to warehousing, these are the A, B, C, D you have to do to ensure that we all work sustainably. When it comes to distribution, these are the things that we have to do. For example, a basic thing like carpooling,
right,
as small as it is, has an element of green practices. A basic thing like my truck has traveled to Tamale. I don't want it to come empty. I want it to make sure that when it comes back with other consignment. It could be just a reverse logistics in nature. That alone is also an element of green practices. So whatever we will do in our organization within the chain must begin by the personnel. They must know what they are doing. They must hold on to it. Then we have to move to the level where it should move beyond the level where it's just head knowledge and becomes a culture. And that's where I love most. So sometimes you could travel out of this country and you could see that people hardly throw things away because they are eco-conscious. They are environment conscious. Why? They've been nurtured in such a way that it becomes part and parcel of them that I don't just eat and throw something away because its ripple effect can be bigger. So we provide education through other mediums. At the end of the day, then we grain them into their minds, then become part and parcel as a culture.
Right.
So in a home, you will finish eating and you will not throw the rest of the food away. You know that you can easily recycle it. You can reuse it for other purposes. The moment that basic fundamental education begins to come, transformation will begin to come, and automatically, gradually, organizations and employees will begin to have a paradigm shift toward green practices in what they do.
Right. Right. Let me come to Madam and find out from you what the benefits are long-term, both environmental and economically, if one adopts, green practices in this sector. Okay,
so as I said earlier on, one of them will be the cost saving. We'll also have a good health.
Right.
Because environmentally, if the economy, there's no pollution, the ships that call our waters, they are polluting the air, they are polluting the waters. They are also with oil pollution. So all this place comes into place. And if we should do the reverse, then what are going to be the benefit? We are going to have very good health and also maximize profit in the long run.
Are there any...
in addition to what Mabel said, in recent times, when you check consumers of products, some of them are conscious. They want to even know the source of the raw material you use to produce your products within the chain, because they become green conscious, eco conscious. What we are going to consume, is it coming from the right source? That alone forces organizations to begin to set up to become green. Now we check mighty organization, multinational, and their reports, annual reports, organizations want to see things related to environment, things related to social, things related to governance. So investors themselves are now pushing for organizations to go green. And these are some of the good news that automatically, pushes us and forces us to all begin to talk and walk green.
I just want to find out from you whether there are any sustainable practices in the maritime logistics sector in our country that we have adopted so far, and how it's going for us. Can you pinpoint some areas that we are currently working with in terms of our quest to operate sustainably and go green?
I will begin from no other place than GPHA. When you check the huge expansion that has happened in Tema and the few ones that we see in Takoradi, all systems which were used are all indeed eco-friendly. Right from the systems of design, you see, the design of the ports, the designs of structures, the designs of the system, all becomes eco-friendly in nature.
Right.
When you check policies and systems that are put in place to ensure that vessels that come does not use the same huge energies that is being used, all becomes practices that have been put in place to ensure that we have the best. Mind you, Ken, when you look through the world, the backbone of every country, the backbone of every society is transport logistics. And when you take the maritime industry, we become the main mode of transportation of international trade. On the other side of the coin, the industry that produces much green gas emissions is transport and logistics.
Right.
So sometimes it looks like we have some two-edged sword. We are the backbone to society, we are backbone to international trade, and at the same time too, we are the most critical industry or sector that produce the highest, greenhouse emissions. So organizations like GPHA, like I said, the modern structures and systems that they've even put in place alone goes a long way to ensure that we begin to leave those practices. I must also go ahead to also let you know that there are a few modern structured logistics companies in town.
Right.
When you pick their policy, 10 years ago, we didn't have anything sustainability in their policies.
Right.
But today, when you scrutinize some of their policies, you begin to know that there are few pages and paragraphs
dedicated
in there
to
that,
sustainability.
And that alone is the beginning point. In some companies, you don't just go there and see any paper. It's purely paperless.
Right.
They could have about 95% paperless. And that alone is a system in place that shows that this organization, through digitalization, has been able to, advance the cause of sustainability.
So in a typical company,
so additionally, when you look at Ghana Maritime, vessels that call the port, the waste that is being generated by them, the ballast waters, the garbage, there are also policies in place, regulations in place, and they ensure that vessels that call the port follow this, and if they don't, then there are fines. And it's very huge. There are fines for them to pay.
In a typical company, if I walk into a company, what are some of the signs I should be looking out for in order to say that, okay, yes, this company is actually doing the right thing in terms of sustainability and going green?
Like Mabel rightly said from the beginning, the first conscious effort is look at whether the company stands for no waste.
Right.
Anytime you have sustainability ingrained in an organization, they stand for no waste. For example, they won't go for dinner, they won't go for lunch for you to see much waste. You won't see any papers that has been used and used waste. You will see from the personnel. My dwelling is much on the personnel because that's where everything starts. The personnel themselves have been positioned in such a way that whatever they do, they don't go waste. The moment you see this signs, it's an organization that is showing the way that they are ready for sustainability.
Right.
Secondly, you also get to know that whatever they have may, one way or the other, may find its way in either a standard operating procedure or maybe in a policy. And the policy is not just at the top level. It's, find its way to be available to everybody in the organization in there. Then last but not the least, one of the critical things within many organizations, all organizations that are able to champion the cause of climate change, champion the cause of eco-friendly, begin with top management support.
Yes.
Right from the top leadership, they will ensure that whatever it takes for them to practice green, whatever it takes for them to live green, and whatever it takes for them to indeed do whatever green is being supported. So when you see organization giving such support, when you see organization who are not ready for waste, when you see organization ensuring that their staff always, every time, they stand up tall, it's a sign that organizations are in for green practices. And there are a few multinationals, they make sure that even they go the extent of getting what we call the green certification.
Right.
Because their funding come from investors. And for them to even have that certification alone, to the eyes of investors, show that they go far, far, far away. I will give you a typical one example. One sector in this country who's so keen on sustainability is the cocoa sector.
Right.
To an extent that we have officers in there, their job is solely sustainability management.
Right.
So when these cocoas are finally manufactured and we're supposed to now ship the beans, those buyers will make sure that we've gone through all the standards as far as sustainability is concerned. So the cocoa sector in this country is up high when it comes to issues of sustainability. And it cuts across all their supply chain, right from the farm to the final shipments at the ports.
All right, so...
And can you agree with me that I think some years back when we were going paperless in the port,
yes,
it was a big issue.
In 2017, there
exactly. Forwarders will not agree why.
Yes.
But today we sit in the comfort of our offices and we request for invoices.
Absolutely.
From the shipping lines, from GPHA, from MPS. And to them, it is a cost reduction for them because we will not go to them. We will also not even use the means of transportation. That will also cause another pollution to go to them and take those invoices. And we go to the officers. We don't carry those bulk documents to them.
Yes.
So these are all green practices. So in a way, in our own little small way, we can be doing this in our own small little way.
Well, I know government is doing a lot in terms of encouraging sustainability and going green. And last at COP23, the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, launched Ghana's electric vehicle policy. That was on carbon emissions, carbon footprints and all that. And I was privileged to, moderate that particular session of the President's launch of Ghana's EV policy in faraway Dubai. I just want to find out from you what role government policies can play in terms of encouraging and promoting sustainability. What do we need to do? How can government policy, as it were, engender the quick acceleration of our quest to go green and sustainable?
Ken, I think that's a very excellent question. And I don't want to just take the wind out of the sail in the next 72 hours.
Right.
Because as an institute, in the next 2 days, we are hosting one of the biggest international conferences.
Yes.
And the theme is related to green practices, how we can sustain. And we are happy to let you know that the Honorable Minister himself is the one going to give the keynotes.
Minister for
Transport.
Yes,
Esiama is the one who is going to give the keynote address in this area.
Right.
2-3 years down the lane, Ghana was able to push this. For those of us in the industry, we're proud, we're happy, because it was a step in the right direction when it comes to green.
Right.
But you know there's one thing for you to pass a policy or push a policy, and the main job now becomes the implementation. And the good news is, everything big doesn't start big. Everything big starts small.
Absolutely.
And we are still a country which is gradually getting to where we want to get to. And like I said, I won't take the sail out of the wings of the minister. We are going to gather next 2 days and ensure that we dive deeper into whatever we do in this area. But on top of it, quite good organizations have taken advantage of whatever exemption the policy gave. At the ministry level themselves too, they've been able to also start something small. But we think that much can be done. And we are all going together in this conference to ensure that we listen to the minister himself, we listen to his key experts, then we can all rally around and see what we could do to better the lot of our society and better the lot of this country.
Right. Madam mentioned in your submission, as an example, the GMA's, rule of getting vessels that come into our ports to operate sustainably and do the right things as far as international conventions are concerned. I just want to find out from you how international frameworks like the International Maritime Organization can influence local practices in terms of sustainability.
Right from IMO and beyond even IMO, the good news is all of them set standards. And those standards become regulation in nature. And the moment it becomes regulation in nature, it means that all countries and all organizations and all bodies who are under them must comply to. So like Auntie Mabel said a few minutes ago, all ports must comply to how they dispose waste in any country. So for example, if any vessel docks in our waters, it carries a certain strange water or carries another water from or another waste from another country. Yes. If it's happening that you want to dispose that waste in there, you don't just wake up and dispose. You must abide by the protocols. You must abide by the standards. So the good news is some of these regulatory organizations provide the standards to ensure that you abide by. One thing I love so much about standards, standard will never be lowered for any country or be lowered for any state or institution. You must be able to rather rise above to meet that standards. And guess what? When you're able to meet that standard, then you can also be in good standing in the books of such organizations so that you can continue to be viable and other organizations be able to also trade with you. And that by making more gains, making more profit for your country. And that by making sure that you also get the best as far as the continental cake is concerned with whatever you do.
Right. Okay, let's do some messages now. And this one says, good evening, sir. Received this. Oh, okay. This one is from Abi in Tema. Abi Temi in Accra. It says, lovely topic. I want to know if I don't have any. Oh, okay, this one is related to the I discussion. And I can see the phone ringing. Please, if you are calling, don't call the 053. Call the number on your screen, which is 020-552-8353. Call this number on your screen, and then you can ask whatever question it is that's bothering your mind that you want to ask. Okay, so what's the best way to take care of? Okay, this one also relates to the first topic. God bless. Nutako in Kaswa says, how can small-scale logistics companies in Ghana afford to implement green technologies given the high costs associated with them?
Let me help all my SMEs, like we shared.
Right.
It's not something so huge and big. The fact that you, the CEO yourselves, and the small caliber of team are able to practice in such a way that you don't cause any harm to the environment.
Right.
You don't cause any harm to an extent of wasting a lot of resources. That alone is a beginning point of sustainability.
Right.
So you could begin from slow level. The fact that you, the CEO, or the head of the SME, the small enterprise, could be able to gather yourself together and call institutions like the CIRT to provide you a virtual training or webinar, which does not necessarily cost a lot, is the beginning point of living sustainably.
Okay, so let me find out from you whether there are any challenges, so to speak, in our country, in our quest to go sustainable and green in the maritime logistics sector. Do you see any challenges? What are some of the things that inhibits, your progress as you, tend to, speedily and accelerate?
When human beings want to have a paradigm shift, surely there will be frictions and challenges.
Just like she said in 2017 when paperless was coming.
Exactly.
Yes. If organization want to even go, let's say 95% paperless, and this organization traditionally has been just using paper almost every time. And the CEO wakes up one day to say that for us to ensure that we contribute our little quota to sustainability, 2025, well, going paperless, there will be challenges. There will be frictions. So the major challenge that I see is changing culture. That's the beginning point. Because it's human beings who changes and it's human beings who bring transformation.
Right.
And that's how the whole thing starts. But gradually, it's like a pure change management. You must find a way to gradually have a buy-in from the organization and its personnel that this is the direction that we are going to. And what is so much important to me is the education bit or the public awareness.
Yeah.
So we've gathered here today. What we are doing is part of gradually providing education, providing public awareness to know that the next generation, the next 5 years is determined by we.
Right.
We have to make sure that that 5 years, if we can have success out of it, is determined by contributing our little quota in all that we do. And that is basically that. So automatically there will be challenges. If it's a multinational organization and you have to host training section for all of them, it will go with a little cost. But I want to reiterate my point again. That cost can never be compared to the huge collective cost that we all incur when we have a huge challenges with climate change.
Right.
And that's what I could say.
All right. So, Madam, if you can come in, I just want to know how you are collaborating companies, governments, and industry associations like the CILT, how you are collaborating to ensure a more sustainable future for the sector. You cannot do it alone. I mean, you've seen the light, and you think that it's about time you drum home the need for us to go sustainable, for us to go green. But not everybody, appreciates this fact that this is the times in which we are, and it requires that we all accelerate our efforts to get there. How are you going to be able to collaborate and get the buy-in of, like-minded companies like you to join the fray so that we can do what we want to, we need, what is needful, so to speak?
So we are open to any collaboration from all angles, being it the government, the private sector. Why not? We are open for a discussion and we can take it up from there. But in the interim, as we rightly said, we have started with some training.
Right.
So people can also come to our secretariat and once they are there, any form of training, as my ES said earlier on, being it virtual, being it physical, we are open for that.
Right.
And in addition to what Mabel Simple said, the word now thrives on collaboration. The word now thrives on we coming together and getting it done and getting it done right. Like CRT and GPHA have had a long relationship, and which is highly positive.
Right.
For you to be able to even have women who are forklift operators, and for you to be able to train them alone, for them to be able to economically be sound, alone is sustainability.
Right.
For them to be able to now have their own livelihood, cater for themselves, cater for their children, is an element of, sustainability.
Right.
So collaboration, yes, that is the language of the day. We collaborate with organization. I'm happy to let you know that there's this organization in town called WABILED.
Right.
West Africa, WABILED, West Africa Biodiversity and Low Emission Program, being championed by USAID.
Right.
What is their mission? Their mission is to ensure that we all help stop illegal trafficking of wildlife.
Right.
And that's why we are here. So come Tuesday, we are hosting our CRT Transport and Logistics Conference.
Right.
And it's open to the public. And I want to use this opportunity to invite the entire Ghana, that come Tuesday, you're all invited. We are going to do in-depth discussions of this. Keynote speaker, like says our Honorable Minister of Transport. We have great men like Dr. Magdan. We have great men like Dr. Vasnani. We have great men like the boss MD. We are all going to run together. Decision makers are there to ensure that the little we have, we can use it to better the lot of this country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Patrick Andor, fellow Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. He also doubles as the Executive Secretary of Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, Ghana. And indeed, Madame Mabel Kabute, Chartered Member, Institute of Logistics and Transport. She's also the Chief Executive Officer of Go Movers Logistics Limited and acting WILAT Ghana Chairperson. WILAT is Women in Logistics and Transport. Gentlemen and lady, thank you so much for coming. We believe that as and when we require your presence on this show to give us insights into the logistics and maritime sector, you would always oblige us. We are grateful to you. And this is where we say a big thanks to our sponsors, Ghana Revenue Authority, GWEL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. Remember, the show is powered by the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. We entreat you to watch the abridged version of Iron Port on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television. God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of your favorite Iron Pot. My name is Kennedy Mona. We entreat you to keep watching the rest of our programs here and wish you a super week ahead. God bless and thanks for choosing us. Good evening.